What's up, everybody? My name is Nick.
I'm Mike.
We are the Brothers Murph.
And this is the best of BoardGameGeek.
So this is the best of BoardGameGeek, where we talk about all of our favorite things about BoardGameGeek. We talk about the hottest games of the month, bit of news, a couple of our own personal things that we really liked on BoardGameGeek. So let's just go ahead and get right into it. Let's go into the news.
So the first bit of BoardGameGeek news is a store update, and we're going to say it together, quack, quack. The quack is back in Quacks of Quedlinburg. Quack, 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 quack. The Quacks of Quedlinburg bits are back in the store. This is always a momentous occasion because them bits are amazing and everybody wants them. But in addition to Quacks of Quedlinburg bits, there are also now storage boxes for all of those bits that you can actually open up, keep the bits in those boxes to make for easy use, and you can even prop up the little books so you know what player powers are associated with each of the little chits in the game, all kind of contained in an awesome little storage box. They're super sweet, they make life good when you play, so those are in the store. Get hyped for that. But that's not all. We have realistic bits that are good for, like, if you need supplement food and things for your games. You kind of put wood or stone if you just kind of want generic bits that you can put into a lot of your different games. Those are back in the store. They have some Karuba trays upcoming. They have bits for Fantastic Factories upcoming, and you can get Zapotec and Tabanusi from the BoardGameGeek store right now. So get all of that and more, and you can go ahead and go to the front page of BoardGameGeek to check the store update for everything that they got. And the second bit of BoardGameGeek news is that BGG Spring is back. It's gonna be Memorial Day weekend. Tickets are expected to go on sale on February 15th on Tuesday, so get hyped for it. Mike and I got to go to our first BoardGameGeek Con, the one last fall. It was so much fun just sitting around playing games. BGG honestly has the best library of any convention we've gone to. Super, super excited. And I believe the badges from 2020 are rolling over because that obviously got canceled. And so check out, there'll be more information coming out soon, but it looks like February 15th is when the tickets can go on sale. So get them today because BGG Con rocks.
So that's a bit of BoardGameGeek news for you, but there's a bunch of hot games that everybody's talking about. So let's go down to the table and talk about the hottest games this month.
Nick, let's bring that hotness. We got 10 games that we're talking about more than any other games, and they go like this.
Again, the hotness. Number 10 is gonna be Lost Ruins of Arnak. It's usually here, although I feel like there's a lot of games in the hotness this month, and so the two usuals, which you'll see here, are a little bit lower than the usual. But Lost Ruins of Arnak, the expansions are starting to hit people's hands. The Expedition Leaders expansion, yeah, really love that. We personally really love that expansion, and so I mean, again, it's just this is a game that's in the hotness pretty much every single month. And the expansion is probably gonna make it so it stays in the hotness pretty much every single month.
Lost Ruins is a really fun game, and it's just
love it
in people's minds. So that's number 10, Lost Ruins of Arnak.
Number 9 is the other game that's always here, and that's Dune Imperium.
The perennial hotness.
Indeed.
You know?
Even the expansion is getting close to popping into the hotness this month. Next month, the expansion itself might be in the.
That's how you know a game is truly hot, where just the complementary piece to a game is hot enough to have its own momentum like that.
Yeah, exactly. Dune Imperium, Lost Ruins of Arnak, these two are always just in the hotness. They have,
both
since they came out,
deck building games, and since
people love them,
which has now been a year plus, they've just haven't really seemed to have slowed at all, which is good for them, you know? It's always cool to see a game like that have continued success through time.
I mean, yeah, it's really like these games are kind of, at this point, kind of evergreens. We'll see in a couple of years that they're still here, but I mean, they are just getting played every single month. Just, they're always here. People are always looking up stuff about them. It's number 9, Dune Imperium.
So number 8 is a game that got announced by Shem, Phillips, and Garphill Games. It's Legacy of You,
this one
which
I'm
is
very interested in.
Solo campaign game. So
and like a pretty big game too. It looks
seems like it. So this is a solo only game that is going to, I think, play between like 7 and 14 chapters or games maybe, and it kind of can reset itself and stuff like that. But it's like a solo campaign, and like, so this I think got people excited because it's not often that you see a larger solo game. Like they do exist and things, but they're just not so common. And then Garphill Games has really been riding a high ever since completing the West Kingdom trilogy and announcing the South Tigris trilogy. That's their next one, following up, of course, the North Sea trilogy. And so that momentum seems to be showing because this game like
really,
immediately was everywhere. It's just the announcement and a couple of pictures. It's very minimal information.
And at this point, anything Shem, Phillips, and Garphill Games announces, it just jumps to the top of the hotness. I mean, they are...
And for my own personal taste, it does. Like,
they are
like, what?
among the hottest publishers out there. They don't come out with too many games, and so whenever they come out with something, it's always a big deal.
Yeah.
And anytime they do, it's just... People are very excited for it. I'm really excited for this. I was looking at the hottest images of the month for this one, and it's all Legacy of You stuff. So it's like,
the art,
people are very excited about Legacy of You.
Yeah, the art looks cool, and it's like one that there's not much information, but I really want to know more.
Intrigued.
Just can't wait to hear more. So that's number 8, Legacy of You.
Let's get number 7. So number 7 is a game called Outlive, and this is kind of like a survival game, it looks like.
I think you're trying to outlive your opponents.
That's kind of what it seems like. It's kind of like post-apocalyptic survival stuff, and you're basically...
Nature sort of reclaimed the land.
Yeah, and so you're basically going on, like you have a day phase and a night phase. The day phase, you're going out collecting resources, and I think you can put out like traps
your opponents.
or certain different things you can mess with your opponents. And the night phase, you're basically trying to just kind of survive. And so yeah, it's a kind of a big survival game. What I thought was interesting is the time frame was like, I think like 40 minutes to like 70 or something like that.
40 to 110.
So relatively quick for a game like this, because these kinds of games
intrigued.
seem like they would be a longer type game. This one doesn't seem too long, so I'm kind of interested in this. It's by La Boîte, who make interesting kind of games and kind of outside the box games. And so
if it really is a kind
really
of like survivally
kind of
dead of wintry maybe sort of game, but it's quick, then I could be intrigued because like you said, like that's typically not our kind of thing. But I'm like, well, if it is kind of fast and provides some of that similar feeling, I might be interested in this one.
Yeah, who knows? But Outlive, it looks cool. The art looks cool and stuff like that. And it's kind of just a survival game, and we'll kind of see as we get more information about it. But that is number 7, which is Outlive.
Number 6 is a game that made no waves at all.
None.
It's Marvel Zombicide.
It's also made no money, which is the best part.
Made no money. I mean, you just dropped this giant Galactus. People are going to start talking about it.
$6 million, right?
Who knows, man?
We make that money in a week.
This chump change, right? Marvel Zombicide has done quite well for itself. It is the next game in the Zombicide line of
kind
games.
Of world,
but now using Marvel heroes that have been all zombified, which follows, I believe, like storylines in the Marvel comics that have been happening. And it comes with obviously this giant Galactus that has 2 different heads.
It's kind of like the giant Cthulhu they had at that one point.
Yeah, so it's like something that's like, anytime CMON goes and does one of these big games, it's like gonna make a splash. People are gonna be talking about it, and of course you see it pop up on the hotness because people want to see that big mini. Mini is
pretty wild looking.
Wild word to
use.
There's
a removable head. Like a zombie head. In the end, it seems very still like Zombicide. If you played Zombicide, all those games, there's a billion of them now. They're all they have slight tweaks here and there, but they're not all that different from each other.
Mechanisms, but I like the fact that you can play as Captain America,
zombie,
but who's a zombie
Iron
now.
Man, and the minis, of course, it's cool when you're not, right? It's like the minis are great. It's one of those things like we have Zombicide Black Plague, haven't gotten another Zombicide since then because we're kind of like, cool, we got the game. But again, people love these games, people love Marvel, and this game, again, it's done incredibly well. But yeah, that's Marvel Zombicide, or Marvel Zombies, a Zombicide game, I think is what it's officially called. Yeah. But people love it, and the minis are cool. So yeah, so that's number 6, Marvel Zombicide. Let's get number 5.
Number 5 puts you as the
big solo,
final girl, in like a
This
horror
is becoming
movie.
more common, to be fair. These kind of bigger solo-only games.
And I'm down for it. So in Final Girl, like you're put into kind of the plots of horror movies and stuff, and you're the prototypical like final girl character who manages to escape, and you got to kind of fight different bosses and things.
Seems
this also
really cool.
Seems to be more common now is the idea of, it's not like a straight like boss battler game, but like where you are kind of trying to overcome this main villain, and then you can place different characters and stuff and go into different sort of stories and stuff, and it plays on a lot of those classic tropes. It's one I really want to try.
Yeah, really.
Seems like there's all sorts of characters.
And there's tons of stuff for it.
Yeah,
I mean,
oh my gosh.
It's really expansive.
Yeah, we see people do unboxings, you're like, whoa, there's so many things for this game, which is like really cool. So
yeah, the board game industry as a whole, I think, has really started to really embrace solo gamers more, especially during the pandemic, But it's like a lot of games nowadays have at least a solo variant. There's a lot of games where it's like, nope, this is only solo, and I just love that idea because there's so many people who play games solo, and it's great. And I'm glad that the industry is embracing that more and more, which is I think is really, really cool. Yeah. Because it's awesome. I really want to try Final Girl.
Yep, that's Final Girl at number 5.
Get number 4. So number 4, we're gonna put a little duo because it's Le Granja, the old one, and the Granja, the deluxe master set, because they were both basically like 1 and 2 for a lot of the month.
As
basically.
people started talking about the Le Granja deluxe master set, people would look up Le Granja,
Yes,
or maybe are searching
so
for the new one and
we're
actually
gonna
click
put
the old
both
one.
into 4.
They're both up in here. Le
But it's Le
Granja in
Granja.
general is number 4. So
Yes.
Board and Dice is reprinting Le Granja with the deluxe master set, which includes upgraded components, new art, and a whole bunch of modules. There's actually new content for the game, both designed by the original designers and guest designers like Stefan Feld, that add little ways to change up the gameplay and stuff. We got a chance to play this new one. We hadn't to that point played the original Le Granja,
not at all, yeah.
but it looks beautiful and stuff, and it's really, really fun. And
I
so
loved it.
It's cool to see this kind of classic game, new classic game, kind of come back and get spruced up, and then again, have a whole bunch more content, which is cool. There's deluxeified versions of games are not that uncommon. But it's cool to have something that's like, well, here's a whole bunch of new stuff to explore. That really pumps a lot of new.
A bunch of small mods. We played a couple of them, and they're kind of like you plug them in, plug them out, kind of do whatever you want. And we never played the Granja, and both of us absolutely love the game.
And the new version looks fantastic.
And the new version looks super. It's beautiful. We love Board and Dice as a company in terms of the games they make and stuff like that. They're really, really wonderful. So they brought back this one.
Boards to hold your cards in, so it's nice and easy to
They're
play.
Wild. But yeah, Le Granja, the old one is great. The new one's really great. It's Le Granja, and so this one's been popping up because of the new version, and so we decided to combine them into one. That's number 4, Le Granja.
Boom. Let's get number 3.
Number 3 is a big game based off a video game, which I feel like that's happening a lot. Now, this is Total War Rome. Yeah. So Total War is a video game that neither of us have played, never really had much interest in it, but it's called Total War Rome, the board game, and so it's a board game version of that game.
Big old heavy game where you're taking on one of these
3 to
ancient
4
civilizations.
hours,
a whole bunch of expansion content. You can play as different types of folks and stuff and really get into kind of the battles and everything.
Yeah.
But this game is one that we don't have a ton of information on. It is on GameFound now and doing very well for itself, and it's based on the video games, which like I said, we haven't played. So all I know is this big war game. It seems very long. And so me personally, I was like, nope.
Yeah,
but,
it's not our kind of game. But
it's because I have no context as to what this is. Maybe if I played the video game, I'd be super into it.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
I'm terrified.
But it's cool. Again, it's always kind of like video game movies, which are never good. You kind of hope it's this is based on a video game. You hope it kind of feels like a video game, but it's still a good board game, And I feel like that's a tough line to walk. And hopefully this one does, because I know people really love the Total War games. And so, we don't, again, know too much about it, and it's not really our kind of game, but it's doing well on GameFound, which is awesome. Yeah. And so, it's Total War.
If you played the games, go check out the GameFound. See if it's interesting. Yeah.
That's number 3. Let's get number 2.
Number 2 is kind of back, Dwellings of Eldervale, which is always kind of in the hotness at different, down the way a little bit and stuff, but it's always sort of coming around being talked about, and it's spiked up here in January.
People love this game. Our good friend Brandon Jar loves this game, and this is a game that people keep telling us, you guys need to try Dwellings of Eldervale. You need to try Dwellings of Eldervale. We just haven't had a chance to. It's one of the things that we'd love to probably play at a convention. Haven't been to many conventions recently, unfortunately, and so we haven't had a chance to try. But I really, really do want to try this game because we just keep hearing about, despite the whole it's not just because there's literally speakers in minis and stuff that whole thing is that's cool. We don't really care about that much, but I keep hearing that the game itself is really, really outstanding.
Right, that's just an add-on.
It's by Breaking Games, who have a good reputation for making good games, and so I really want to try this game because it's just one that we're not going to go buy because it's really big and really expensive, but I do really want to try it. And so hopefully we'll get to it at some point, but Dwellings of Eldervale is number 2. People love this game. Yeah. And it's kind of always just hovering around the hotness,
Boom, that's number 2. Let's go and hop into number 1 from the hotness.
Number 1
is Ark Nova.
It's been number 1 on the hotness. It's just stopped there
up there
all month.
People started talking about it. Tom Bassel says it's his number 1 game of all time, and that means it goes woo to the moon in the hotness. Ark Nova, I had a chance to play digitally. We don't have it physically yet. I get the hype. Nick hasn't played it. I have. I totally understand the hype. It's super duper fun. We love kind of the DNA that you see from other games that are in this one, mixed with a fantastic theme. A lot of people compare it to Terraforming Mars because you have cards that have tags on them. You need to sometimes have certain cards played before you can play the other cards. There's kind of prerequisites, managing your money. But I personally am much more interested in running a zoo than going to space. It's just more appealing to me. So the whole idea of, you kind of want to have your zoo filled with animals, for appeal, but you can release those animals back to the wild and focus on being conservation focused in your zoo. You're trying to cross those two tracks to ultimately end the game and then win the game.
Yeah.
It does a lot of things from games. The action selection is interesting. I personally totally get why everyone else is talking it up, and it's one game that as having played it, I understand and think it deserves the hype it deserves. It has. I think it should be number one. I think it's really fantastic. I think this is going to be a game that does stick around.
Yeah. It's probably going to be the hottest for a minute. Yeah.
Really enjoying Ark Nova.
I
wait
really want to try
to play it physically and have it, all in all of its glory on the table. It's really fun.
Second we can get it, we will be getting it. I really want to try it. That's number one. That's the hotness. At the very end of the hotness, we always talk about the most played games of the month. So this is people that have logged their games. And this is showing the most played games. It's kind of a weird month. Usually it's kind of a lot of the similar stuff. There's still a lot of similar stuff, but they're in a very odd order.
Yeah.
And I don't know because people have more time, they had a chance to play these things.
Maybe.
But for
it's the winter, to be fair.
Yeah, there are a lot of people who are indoors, right? So number 10, we have Gloomhaven, which is usually in the top 15, but not usually number 10, with 5,944. To be fair, we've been playing this game a lot.
We played 100 of those plays.
So a lot of them.
We played through a lot of that. Seven Wonders Architects is at 6241. That's on Board Game Arena.
But is that on BGA?
Yeah, and it's super fun and would go down smooth. So I can totally see that getting a lot of
quick
play.
Too.
Yeah.
Seven Wonders Duel is number 8, and that has 7,496.
Boom. We've got Lost Ruins of Arnak, as we talked about on the hotness, at 8109. Always getting played.
Always getting played, especially on BGA. And then we have Terraforming Mars, the OG Terraforming Mars, at 8424.
Boom. Now we have what we are usually up higher.
Usually number 1 and number 2.
We have the Crew Mission Deep Sea at 9457.
And then Crew Quest for Planet 9, the original one, at 10502. Those are usually 1 and 2. But they're just not this month, which is wild.
I know, it's weird. Life changes. We got Wingspan that's just barely edged out the
by
Crew.
100 plays.
It's at 10,602.
That's so much. It's incredible. And then number 2 is Azul with 11,054.
Right. And then we have Marvel Champions, always well played. There's always new content for it, and a lot of people solo it.
Yeah.
12,212 plays of that game.
Marvel Champions usually 3 or something. It's this month is super weird to play.
I think in any month, Marvel Champions could be number 1.
Probably,
because depending on what comes out and what people are into.
People be loving Marvel Champions.
People just and people I know grind out plays of that game.
Yeah, so that's I guess Azul's on BGA now.
Yeah.
That's right. So a lot of people are playing. That's probably gonna be up there.
Oh yeah.
No, that's the top logged plays. Again, this is so log your plays on BGG if you want to affect this list, because this is again going off of BGG users. That's the top games of the month. Let's go back up and let's talk about some Murph picks.
So my Murph pick is simple. It's a picture. It's a Murph picture that I didn't take. Someone else that's way cooler than me took. This is a picture of Under Falling Skies, and specifically this player painted up the little ships that are ever cascading down upon you, and they 3D printed and then painted this mothership. Because in this game, it's sort of like Space Invaders. There's these ships that are flying down trying to blow up your town, and you're trying to ward them off and research these aliens before they can destroy you. And everything is sort of just slowly coming down toward you, which is a menacing idea to see this mothership sort of ever present and coming closer and closer. So with this 3D upgraded version, it looks menacing. It looks terrifying as it's kind of coming down closer, and your doom is upon you and your fate is sealed and you're not gonna be able to make it. And the way that it took this picture just really kind of gets me going with the whole idea of the theme and sort of the trying to survive. It ups the stakes for me. So just seeing that picture got me super hyped to play Under Falling Skies again. I played it a few times, we have it, but now I really want to kind of dig back in. And so I guess that's the best thing, is when you see something that inspires you to go do something. So now I want to play Under Falling Skies, and this picture really, I want to play this version to be fair, but it's just super cool. So I had to make my Murph pick.
My Murph pick is going to be a game of TI4, a session report written by Roll for Criticism. So this was a family game of TI4, which is just kind of a fun concept, right? To play with your whole family. So apparently Roll for Criticism's kids gave them essentially a ticket to cash in, a game ticket. And you can play whatever game you want, you can cash in, we all have to play together. So they said, okay, boom, TI4, we're doing it. And I love that idea. And so they essentially spend a day kind of learning the game, picking out their factions, picking out all the different stuff they need and then setting up the game. The next day, they played a decent amount of it. But because they were playing with their kids, and their kids obviously could grok the game no problem, but they're like, it's a lot for like one session all in like one day. So they kind of broke it up over the span of a week. They played a big chunk of it on like a Saturday or a Sunday, and then every day of the week, they played like 45 minutes to 60 minutes of the game, like kind of one round. And they kind of changed some of the rules. They decided to go to 14 points instead of 10 points. And they just really played over the week. And then by the time the next weekend came around, they were close enough where they decided to play the rest of it on Saturday. And they also had some alternate win conditions going on, but it was a really, really cool idea to kind of like, hey, I want to play this game. I want to play with my family, but I need to kind of modify it so we can keep the kids engaged, keep them with it. Because again, I've played a game of TI4 that took 13 hours, and that's a long time to be playing one game, you know? And so I love the idea of kind of breaking it up and having it in chunks so that younger kids can kind of keep with it or also just be a little overwhelming. I thought this was a really, really cool session report and just a cool idea. Also, I love the idea of like, here's a game, take it, cash it in for whatever you want, whenever you want. This is your birthday present. Here you go. I love that idea. I think it's a great concept for a family, for a spouse, or something like that. I think it's just really, really cool. So this session 4 of TI4 by Roll for Criticism was my Murph pick because I thought it was really cool.
So before the end of the video, we always talk about our personal favorite board game of the month. My favorite game of the month is very, very close between two, but I'm going to go ahead and choose Thunder Road Vendetta, which we got to play by Restoration Games. This is a new version of the game Thunder Road. It's just kind of like, it's just absolute chaos. It's just Mad Max. You have cars that you're racing, you have big, small, and medium cars, and you can like slam into each other and like blast off, and you're like shooting each other, like it's just bananas. And I thought it was,
it's really maximum chaos.
If you just embrace the chaos, it is so much fun. We played a couple times. I've had so much fun every time playing it. It's on Kickstarter right now, but man, we had to play an earlier copy. I love it. I think it's so much fun.
It is super duper fun. My number one game is everyone's number one game right now. It's Ark Nova.
Yeah, I haven't just played it.
I talked glowingly about it during the hotness portion of this video, and so of course it's my number one. Like it's so good. It's so interesting and fun. I want to keep coming back to it. I want to try different card combinations. I want to explore every little bit of this game. Ark Nova has captured my imagination and attention.
Yeah, you know,
sure.
Very, very excited to try it. But that's gonna be our picks for the month. Let us know down in the comments below what your favorite game of the month, what's your favorite bit of news, favorite announcement, whatever you know. Put it down in the comments below.
Absolutely. And until next time, thanks so much for joining us for another Best of Board Game Geek. Happy 2022 to y'all. Now we're kind of a ways into it,
but you know,
I'm still gonna say happy 2022 because why not have a happy 2022? But until next time, everybody, I am Mike.
I'm Nick.
We are the Brothers Murph, and we will see y'all in the next one.
Goodbye.
Bye.